Council meeting Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. Ms. Montag, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Here.
Terenzi? O'Donnell?
Here.
Deanne? Ryan?
Here.
Townsend? Here. Mayor Calendino?
Here. We two missing, and we do have a quorum. We have a public hearing at 8 p.m., so we're going to try to get through. We have a very jam-packed agenda tonight. I do have one requested change to the agenda, adding an item to discuss street repavement projects, and that would go in the agenda under 5G1B. I would be looking for a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Sikora, support by O'Donnell. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Terenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we'd like to open the floor for public comments for items that are listed on the agenda. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak to something on the agenda, please step to the podium. All right, next item is consent business. In your packet, you'll see the items and their agenda item summary forms for these items on consent business. If there's no discussion necessary, I would be looking for a motion to approve the consent business.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by O'Donnell. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Terenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is correspondence. We had a special tribute to the Utica Police Department. Chief Cody, would you like to cover that, or would you like me to read that?
Go ahead if you would.
All right, I'm going to have to find it here. We received correspondence from State Representative Diana Farrington. It was a special tribute to the Utica Police Department, and I will read it. Let it be known that it is with great respect and gratitude for your selfless commitment to the citizens of the state of Michigan that we extend our highest praise and commendation for your bravery and service in recognition of National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. In answering the call of duty, you have willingly accepted the challenges and hazards of this profession to protect and secure the safety and well-being of your community and the state. We salute your dedication and strength, which serves as an inspiration to us all. While some individuals call for defunding the police, our community stands with the brave men and women in blue. Law enforcement is a dangerous profession requiring skill, preparation, and rapid response at a moment's notice. Police officers are always on duty, even when they're off. A law enforcement professional takes an oath to protect the public and go out of their way to keep our communities safe. In accepting the inherent dangers and challenges that accompany this profession, you demonstrate true courage, leadership, strength of character, and teamwork. Exemplary public servants rarely receive the recognition they deserve. Our communities would not function without committed individuals like you, willing to devote such considerable time, energy, and talent to help others. Your contributions and sacrifices safeguard our citizens and communities. We thank you for your efforts to ensure this state is a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family. In special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to honor and recognize your dutiful service in recognition of National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. May you know of our heartfelt appreciation for your tireless efforts to protect the people and property of the Great Lakes State. Signed, Diana Farrington, Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. Very nice. I'd be looking for a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by Ryan. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes. Next on the agenda is one of our favorite times. Chief Wilczek, do you want to introduce?
Sure. We have firefighter Sebastian Ballou, firefighter EMT, and Jack Ham, firefighter EMT. They come to us fully trained, and going to put them on the road here shortly. I don't know if everybody knows that there is quite a shortage of firefighter EMTs and paramedics in the state of Michigan. So if there's anybody out there listening to us and are licensed and live in the city, come on down and see us.
At this time, I'd like to ask firefighter Ballou to step forward. Sorry, sir.
Very, sir.
Great. If you could raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. And I'll try to do this slowly. Sometimes I get ahead of myself, so bear with me.
Opposite. No hands.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of this state,
of this state,
and the Charter
and the Charter
for the City of Utica,
for the City of Utica,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
and policies and procedures
and policies and procedures
of the City of Utica
of the City of Utica
Fire Department,
Fire Department,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of firefighter EMT
of firefighter EMT
for the City of Utica
for the City of Utica
Fire Department
Fire Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
And it's my privilege to do another. Mr. Ham? Raise your right hand and left hand on the Bible. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of this state,
of this state,
and the Charter
and the Charter
for the City of Utica,
for the City of Utica,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
and policies and procedures
and the policies and procedures
of the City of Utica
of the City of Utica
Fire Department,
Fire Department,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of firefighter EMT
of firefighter EMT
for the City of Utica Fire Department
for the City of Utica Fire Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Good to have you, sir.
Congratulations.
Yep. All right.
Thank you, everybody. And if anyone would like to leave, you're more than welcome to stay and listen to the very exciting, stuff we're going to be covering. And the next item on the agenda is a citizen's letter of commendation presented to Gary Breen and Raul Metamoros. And Chief Cody will be presenting this.
Mayor and council, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and tell you about some of our citizens today. Utica Police Department has an award and accommodation for citizens, and I'll paraphrase. This is an award that may be presented to any citizen who has performed an exceptional act of service that is clearly above that which is normally expected of a citizen, which has contributed to the success of the department and the city. Mr. Matamoros and Mr. Breen participated in an event that I'm going to tell you about this evening. Almost exactly a month ago, January 9th, in the late afternoon hours, the Utica Police Department received a 911 call into the dispatch center from a worried resident. She was reporting that her husband had not returned home from a walk. At this time of the call, the weather was extremely cold, with below zero temperatures being reported. As police began a coordinated search effort, residents Mr. Breen and Mr. Matamoros got involved in this search effort throughout the city. After hearing about the missing resident, the two began to move about the city in hopes of assisting in finding this individual and helping with current search efforts. It was at this time that Mr. Breen and Matamoros came in contact with a male wearing only his underwear walking down the street. The man was clearly disoriented, not dressed appropriately for the weather. Mr. Breen and Matamoros notified authorities, who quickly dispatched Utica Fire, EMS, and police. It was determined that the individual was not the subject of the initial search, but another second subject who was suffering from a medical issue. This resident was quickly reunited with his family, who was unaware that he had gotten out of the home on this day. The actions of Breen and Matamoros are worthy of a Citizen's Award. Their willingness to get involved, to assist and take part in matters within their community is commendable. Breen and Matamoros can take pride in the fact that their actions directly affected the well-being of a fellow resident. On behalf of the Utica Police Department and the City of Utica, I'd like to thank you both for your service in these actions on this day. And for this, your actions are commendable and worthy of a letter of commendation, which I have for each of you today. If we could, get a round of applause. For these citizens. Thank you so much. Okay? I don't think you realize that on this date, this was a very difficult set of circumstances that could have been made even worse had this person not been discovered by them. Obviously, in that type of weather, somebody not dressed appropriately, things could have turned bad very quickly. Had you not taken it upon yourself, most people didn't want to be outside to begin with, right? And you took it upon yourself to be there that day. So thank you for your actions.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Much appreciated. And we have a few minutes before our public hearing. Next item on the agenda is the Flickinger Elementary 5K and 1 mile walk run. Would the petitioner step to the podium and give us your name and address, please?
Hi, my name is Jessica Spiegel. My address is 46152 Sterrett Street, Utica. I'm here on behalf of Flickinger. Annually, we were having a 5K and a 1 mile walk. That was put on hold due to world circumstances. And we would like to host it again this year, so we're asking the city's permission to utilize the Flickinger neighborhood streets for that run. The map I provided in an email to the city with the pathing for it. We would run it from approximately 10 a.m. until 11:30, and then the streets would be clear after that. I don't know what other information.
Is it
you-
the exact same format and footprint?
Yeah, Bob from Hanson's is running the course, and it's the same course that we've used years prior.
And I don't think we blocked streets off, Chief, or anything like that, right?
We did not.
Yep, I don't believe you're asking to block any streets or anything.
We aren't. We're
and-
just letting the city know that we are going to have people in the streets, but we are going to have adults at the intersections where there are not stop signs.
And I'm sorry, what was the date scheduled for that?
April 30th. It's a Saturday.
That also happens to be the day of our Utica Puppy Parade. That
Fun.
starts at 2 p.m. at Grant Park, goes down Han to Pioneer Park.
Okay,
So after the run, you all got to join us
yeah.
for the Puppy Parade. We'd be looking for a motion to approve the Flickinger Elementary 5K and 1 mile walk run.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by O'Donnell, support by Ryan. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend? Yes. Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to it. Okay, we have to skip the next item on the agenda until after the public hearing. The next item would be the pawn license application, and the petitioner is Mr. Brian W. Sanders. Could you step up to the podium and introduce yourself, sir?
Good evening, and thank you for being here. My name is Brian Sanders. I live at 3715 Hampton in Royal Oak. And I'm petitioning to purchase an existing business right now, a jewelry business right here on Hall Road. And I'm looking to obtain a pawn license for lending, along with doing some retail estate jewelry that I currently do in Birmingham. So I've been in the business for 40 years, and I'm seeing an amazing opportunity out in this area for what I offer. And it's pretty simple.
I know one thing I noticed, sir, was your name on the Lara documents, the certificate of assumed name document. Doesn't exactly match the City of Utica pawnbroker's license.
What do you see there, sir?
On the City of Utica pawnbroker's license, it says R&R Estate Jewelry and Loan.
Correct.
And on the Lara documents, it says R&R Estate and Fine Jewelry.
Correct. Yeah, I assumed that what you wanted to see was what I would be doing here on that application. That would be the name and the type of business.
And the business address is listed as 112 South Old Woodward Avenue, Birmingham.
That's my current address, yes.
What is the Utica address?
The Utica address is what I'm looking to purchase,
Yeah.
Mink Jewelers.
Mink Jeweler.
Yes, and there will be some changeover. He's retiring.
That's in the Heritage Square Shopping Center?
Right by the
Where Domino's is, where right next to the post office.
office.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's the last building right before the post office. I
Yes,
believe,
sir.
right?
There currently is a pawnbroker license issued out of there, correct? Or
I believe it's a second-hand license. I'm looking to lend on jewelry. Like I said, I've been doing this for 40 years, and there's not a lot of opportunity for people to get these short-term loans without going to the bank. And we've found great success in Birmingham for people that have an excess of jewelry that need some kind of stopgap financing without selling it. I do purchase and I do loans. And I just, studied the growth that's north of here, and I just see a tremendous opportunity in this area.
Chief Cody, did you have any input on this, or?
No, he's complied with everything that we've requested. He has had his background done through our Detective Bureau. It looks like he is a current standing businessman in the same business outside of our city. Mink Jewelers is a business that has been in our city for some time. There's a little bit difference in licensing. I think it would be very similar to anything like a pawn license, because it is going to be a lending situation. So ultimately, it would be up to council if they want to continue a licensing in that location.
Well, at this time, we'd be looking for a motion to approve issuing a pawnbroker license to Brian W. Sanders.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Sikora,
support?
support by Ryan. Any discussion from council? Do we need those names to match, Chief, on the Utica business license and the Lara application?
I'm not exactly sure, because he may be establishing a new business, unless it's continuation of an old business. If it's something new, obviously he'd be starting a new business under a new name, so,
Understood.
yep.
I'll adhere to whatever's necessary. I'll comply and handle anything.
And I'm assuming you've been given a copy of the City of Utica ordinance
I have.
pertaining to
I have.
pawnbrokers?
Yeah, it's the same in the state of Michigan, essentially, about reporting. It's actually it's a nice way of, again, we've caught, in 40 years of doing business, I can tell you we've caught over 100 people trying to pawn stolen goods. It's a real channel for the police. And again, I work closely with the police in Birmingham, but there's a network of pawnbrokers that we work together. If something comes up missing in a city, we speak about it, and we have access to this knowledge. There's a big changeover over how we run our businesses, how they used to be run. So I see it as a real advantage for recovering, especially stolen jewelry, which is really difficult to track.
I assume you're familiar with the leads online?
I follow that now.
Okay.
Yes, that's a,
And that usually is a requirement for? the
yes, sir.
jewelry
Yes, sir.
contract?
In loaning and in purchasing.
Yes, okay.
And precious metals, coins, anything across that board is reported.
Right, okay.
It's a great tracking system, the leads online, so.
And I think one of the reasons that the mayor brings up the ordinance is there is transaction fees associated with that are related to the city. So just to make sure that everybody understands what the ordinance entails. Just as you indicated, there's going to be compliance issues with leads online.
Correct.
as well as the ordinance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Of the requirements.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you, Chief. Any further discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you kindly. I appreciate it very much.
Welcome to the city.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
It is a couple minutes past 8 o'clock. I'd be looking for a motion to enter the public hearing period.
So moved.
Motion by Sikora, support by O'Donnell,
No, it's Ryan.
or Ryan, excuse me. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. We are now in public hearing for CDBG grants. Do we have any representatives here from any of the organizations? We're gonna hit them all, so, sir, you're already standing, so we'll let you go. If you could step to the podium, introduce yourself, and give your address, please.
Yes, my name is Kevin Markle. My address is 12435 Independence Avenue in Shelby Township, and I've been a resident here for about 40 years. I'm here today to ask for CDBG funds for Samaritan House. It's a food pantry located right now in Washington Township. In the past, we've supported people kind of in the Romeo, Washington, and northern Shelby Township communities. But now we've recently expanded our coverage area to all of Shelby Township and now Utica. I work as a volunteer on Friday afternoons, and I'm also a board member of the organization representing Shepherd's Gate Lutheran Church. We support a lot of people, not necessarily homeless, but people that are in need of food through whatever situation. In the past year, we supported lots of individuals. It says here, last year, we spent $56,000 on food for our pantry, and we helped about 1,300 families and 2,900 individuals. So it's a busy afternoon on a Friday, and I can tell you from the time I get there, I don't sit down for 4 hours. It's amazing how many people need food that aren't necessarily homeless, but have a desperate need, for our services. We support not only the need for food, but we also provide monies for. We do taxes on the weekends right now, and we We provide other assistance. We help with rent and heating allowances and whatever the family situation might be. So I'm here on behalf of our organization asking for $10,000. Or I'm sorry, $1,000. No.
We're asking for 10,000.
Yes, I know, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
A little nervous
No,
tonight.
that's okay.
This is way out of my comfort zone.
You're doing fine, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, sir?
No, that's all.
Thank you any questions from council? Very good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Montag, would you like to go next?
Barbara Montag, 45354 Kensington, Utica, Michigan. I'm here as the president of the library board at the request of the director of the library, Katie Francis. So I am going to read what she was going to present to you. She had an emergency. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The library is requesting CDBG funds to help with the purchase of our large print books as well as our audio collection. The large print books and the audio books are heavily utilized by our patrons who are visually impaired and struggle with reading. As our patrons begin to age, their needs also transition from regular print to large print, and many times the switch to audiobook becomes essential either due to the weight of the large print book or the other factors of macular degeneration. These specialized books are more expensive than regular print books, and we often struggle on whether we can afford to purchase a popular new book in all formats to reach the needs of all of our patrons. These resources are so popular and valued among our Utica residents that we've recently reorganized the library to open up more space. To grow these collections, we strive to meet the needs of our community. Also, however, we would like to purchase Fox books. These books are geared toward children who struggle with learning and have visual disabilities. They are equipped with full audio recordings that allow children to follow the story at the pace they are mentally and physically able without the need of computers or tablets, which makes them widely accessible to all types of families regardless of income. We purchased our first set of Vox books 4 years ago, and they have since grown in popularity among families that are low-income, ELL, mentally and physically disabled, and are requested on a regular basis. We would like to purchase more, but the price of these books is twice the amount of regular children's books, running approximately $50 per book, with a minimum order of 10 books, which is $500. And we would try to keep those in the library for our residents and not be sent out to the community libraries through the loaning. Utica Library has but one place to request to receive CDBG funds, and that is why the library would like to request the full $2,640 to provide for our Utica residents the materials and services that met their needs. Any questions? I had a lot, so I'm ready.
What, I can see a large percentage of people using like the larger print and the audiobooks, but what type of percentage would it be, like the ELL kids or
Well, since we only
disabled
have
kids?
a small amount, that she did not tell me. We purchased them 4 years ago, and we don't have we only have one set. So you have to buy them in a set of 10. So I assume we only have 10 at this time. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, as the president of the library board, I'm
Yeah.
much more efficient on telling you what my budget looks like
Right, then I'm,
than
yeah.
how many
people are
books go
checking
in
them
and out of the library. The staff are wonderful
Yeah,
on
I guess
that,
if we
you know.
already have 10, I just wanted, I'd like to know how
Well,
many
and
people
you
are
know,
renting them out.
what I asked
or
about-
signing them out.
Is that the only people who can purchase them are schools and libraries. The families themselves can't purchase a box book. So, and I guess the schools aren't purchasing a lot of them because they
Probably
relied
because
on their,
there's not
on
a
their,
larger
on their special ed
percentage to-
teachers to
Yeah,
work with the kids.
yeah.
So Katie is just really wanting Katie, and of course, we have a new children's librarian, and really trying to increase the help for our special needs kids to come into the library.
Do you know what the split would be between the large print books and the box books? If it's 500, you have to buy them in a lot of 500,
We have to buy them in a lot of 10 at $500.
right?
At $500 for 10?
10,
Correct?
yes.
Okay.
So do you know how
Yes.
many lots of Vox books you'd be buying versus the
She
remainder?
did, she
for-
did not tell me that. I did not ask that question. I have to be honest with you. I would imagine she would want one or two, considering we only have 10 books currently. But again, I'm not sure on how the circulation is going on those. I feel like I got sent here at the last minute due to her emergency. but-
Understood.
And I know the large print and the audiobooks are moved quickly. I'm one of those.
I was gonna say,
I'm
I'm
on
a
my
big
way.
audiobooks
I
person.
love
so
reading
I-
without these, and I
Yeah.
also love being in the car with an audiobook, but
Yeah.
that's just me, so.
Any other questions from council?
It's-
Thank you, Ms. Monte.
You're welcome.
If I may, I'm sure you love collecting paper. And you take one, please, Councilwoman, and you pass it down
Oh,
to the...
here, I'll pass it.
Good evening to the Utica City Council. My name is Scott Andrews. I am a resident of Warren, but I'm representing Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. I recognize a number of you from last year presenting virtually, so Mayor, your smile radiates across the screen no matter how else. A few other councils, and actually Councilwoman Terenzi has been a past volunteer of our organization. What I handed out to you is primarily information on our organization. I'll address the white sheet in a moment, which has some specifics on the CDBG program and our relationship with Utica. But very briefly, our organization of Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, we deal primarily with low, moderate income seniors and disabled adults throughout Macomb County, parts of Oakland and St. Clair. Looking at the numbers, I don't have 2020 census data, but looking at 2010, it appeared that the city of Utica is almost 25% ages 60 and above, one of the highest in the county. Our organization recognizes that Macomb County, the number of older adults is rapidly increasing, and they, of course, need support services due to the frailties of age, health, or disabilities. For 29 years, our organization has been providing free basic assistance to hundreds of these frail, older, and physically challenged adults, trying to help them remain safely in their homes with the help of hundreds of volunteers. Some of the things our organization does is assisting these older disabled adults with transportation, chores, respite breaks, errands, and even friendly visits, friendly phone calls due to loneliness. The CDBG component we refer to as the Safe at Home program, and that is part of our chore and repair program for older and disabled adults. We developed this in hopes of utilizing these volunteer services to help residents in cities, especially the ones that are able to provide some CDBG funding. This project allows us to assist these seniors and physically challenged adults with small indoor and outdoor chores, minor home repairs, routine housekeeping, and we certainly do identify those that really don't have other resources, don't have family, don't have a support network, let alone financial resources. The CDBG funding is essential to our growing these services throughout the city, allowing us to expand our reach, coordinate the volunteers, et cetera, et cetera. On the the white sheet that I presented, one side talks about a lot of small, minor repairs that we would do, helping a senior with a loose railing, possibly a step going into the household. Sometimes we would get a call, quite honestly, where there is beeping in the basement and they aren't physically able to get to the basement. And being aware that it could be a CO2 detector or other things, we would try to get a volunteer as soon as possible to at least go check and then point that resident in the right direction. As you can see, we have come before your city council a number of times for CDBG funding. I appreciate the partnership and the monies awarded in the past few years. You can see the 2021 fiscal year, we had lower than the number of tasks that we had projected, simply because, as you can imagine, the beginning of the pandemic, some of our household assistance involves a volunteer who may be a senior themselves, or at least retired, going into the home of a senior. And obviously, over this pandemic, there was limited opportunities to have people from the outside coming in for safety's sake. The current year we are in right now, we have spent $444 of the $448 that was allocated by your city council, and basically that we have completed 6 of the sort of household tasks or chores that we've completed 6 of them in this current fiscal year. The last thing with the dollar amounts, including a request before you for 740, our organization is a little bit different, where it is $74 through a formula that we figured out with Macomb County per task, per chore. We don't get lump sum monies from any of the cities or townships. It is if we help a resident of your city with a chore or project, then we submit that paperwork to Macomb County, who would then reimburse us $74 per task or per chore. So a couple of years ago, I'm imagining we didn't utilize the entire $504. I can assure you Macomb County found a use for that in some other organization that perhaps come the fourth quarter of the fiscal year had overspent maybe what they were doing. So in our case, we don't receive money to use over the next year. It is, I said, sort of a reimbursement. So again, appreciate the relationship. I know Councilwoman Terenzi spoke on our behalf last year. Fiscal, a lot of organizations, requests, including the library, anything you can do is helpful, and directing anyone towards our organization, a senior that may have a small bit of need that an unpaid volunteer could help with, would be great. So, any questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to?
Thank you.
Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Craig Blatchford, and I'm here on behalf of Care House in Macomb County, and that's the Children's Advocacy Center, and the address is 131 Market Street. And I did just pass out information about the demographics and program statistics for Care House. But our main office is located in Mount Clemens, and we have a satellite office located in Warren. My role at Care House is a child forensic interviewer and a crisis counselor. Care House is the only agency in Macomb County that offers comprehensive services for child victims of sexual abuse, physical abuse, or children that have witnessed a violent act, as well as their non-offending family members. Care House's goals is to minimize trauma for children that are victims of abuse and to support the child victim and non-offending family members through the investigative and prosecution phases, and provide supports that begins the healing process. Care House is an accredited member of the National Children's Alliance. Care House does collaborate with all law enforcement jurisdictions in Macomb County, as well as the FBI, Homeland Security, in the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. Also Child Protective Services, the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, and medical and mental health professionals. Almost 3 kids in every Michigan classroom, and over 20,000 of all the children right here in Macomb County today are living with the trauma of sexual abuse. These numbers are surely much higher because although those are our best estimates, a lot of children never tell. Sadly, living with sexual abuse is a reality for children of every race, gender, and economic status. One could even be you or me, and they are more common, children within the homes, your neighbor's kids, or even your kids' friends. Over 800 child victims of sexual abuse and the physical abuse from every community in Macomb County start their journey here at Care House every year. Care House offers intervention and support services for child victims and their parents, intervening to promote healing and helping families to cope with the emotional stress and trauma that is caused not only by the acts of the abuse, but also the investigative process. These services are the coordination of forensic interviews, crisis counseling, child safety assessments, parent and child support groups, trauma-focused therapy sessions, family advocacy, access to forensic medical examinations, and referral to any other community services too. Families are never charged for the services that they receive at Care House, and we provide services to all referred children and their non-offending family members. I'm also proud to report that according to our most recent independent financial audit, over 88 cents of every dollar that comes to Care House is specifically devoted to serving the children and their families in our communities. Since opening in 1996, we have conducted over 9,400 child forensic interviews, with 94 of those children residing in the city of Utica. In 2019, 757 forensic interviews were provided, and 4 of those were of Utica children. In 2020, we provided 664 forensic interviews, including 1 child from the city of Utica. And last year, in 2021, 727 forensic interviews were completed, and 1 of those children resided in Utica. We do depend on the support from the community to provide a voice for child victims and a safe place for them to be heard. We are grateful for the $448 in CDBG funding we received from the city of Utica last year, which supported services for 1 child. We respectfully request your consideration for the funding this upcoming year in the amount of $1,200. And that'll provide services for 2 qualifying child victims and their families that reside in the city of Utica. Of course, we would also be grateful for any amount you're able to allocate for us. If you want, for any more information about Care House, we do have a website at www.mccarehouse.org, where we have information on Facebook as well. But I do appreciate your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Any questions from council?
Thank you
I
guys
think
very
we're all
much.
set. Thank you very
Appreciate your
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for your time this evening. My name is Bailey Beam Albrecht. I'm here on behalf of Turning Point. Turning Point is based in Macomb County, and our mission is empowering survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence through comprehensive services and resources while advocating for community action to end oppression and violence. You may have most commonly heard of our emergency shelter, which is a safe haven for survivors of domestic and sexual violence and their children, if there are any children involved. This shelter provides immediate safety, crisis intervention, and resources to families trying to establish basic safety. Our agency takes a multifaceted approach to ending the cycle of violence within families. We also offer services related to forensic nursing and advocacy, legal advocacy, personal protection order assistance, and community education, and all of our services are free for every one of our clients. Last year, our emergency shelter program sheltered 579 adults. That's not even including the children that were in our shelter. And across all of our agency programs, Turning Point served 6 Utica residents. And this included 1 forensic nursing and first response advocacy case and 5 counseling clients totaling 50 hours of counseling for Utica residents. Turning Point's shelter case managers meet with every new shelter resident within 24 hours of their arrival to develop an individualized safety plan based on their goals. They work on plans for financial stability, safety, and housing, and these kind of depend on what the survivor's goals are, but the plan can include things like literacy, immigration, credit repair, supportive counseling after leaving shelter. The case management program has developed collaborations and linkages to multiple systems, organizations, businesses, and churches that can help domestic violence and sexual violence victims maintain their safety when leaving shelter. There's strong evidence that supports the idea that improving survivors' knowledge of and access to community resources leads to a higher quality of life and less risk of re-abuse over time. Turning Point continues to provide comprehensive services to children while they are in shelter, as well as after they leave shelter. Children can receive crisis counseling, help with schoolwork, safety planning, recreation activities, family nights, support, and education 7 days a week. We also have a day camp that runs all summer, and many children keep in contact with us for many months after they leave shelter through our support services program. Turning Point's shelter facility is completely handicap accessible and has many educational spaces, as well as indoor and outdoor play areas for children and teens, private sleeping and bathroom facilities for shelter residents, multi-purpose rooms that function as dining rooms, family activity areas, study areas, as well as private dedicated counseling spaces and spaces for other nonprofits to be on site to deliver their services. Turning Point respectfully requests $1,000 from the City of Utica to fund shelter meals, basic needs, crisis intervention, case management, childcare, and support and information groups for our clients. We would also like this time to encourage anyone experiencing sexual or domestic violence to reach out to our 24-hour hotline for support at any time. Or if you know somebody who could use this information, I would encourage you to pass along our 24-hour hotline number, which is 586-463-6690. And if you're interested in learning more about Turning Point and the services that we provide, I would highly encourage you to visit our website at turningpointmacomb.org or follow us on social media. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? Thank you so much.
Great, thank you for your time.
Is there anybody else? Any other organization here? Anyone from the public that would like to speak on behalf of any of the petitioners? All right, well, I would be looking for a motion to return to our regular council meeting.
So moved.
Support. Motion by Sikora, support by Ryan. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. And that brings us to the point where we need to vote on allocation and distribution of our CDBG grant money. That is a tongue twister. Seems like they can make that easier, right? I'll start off. This is it's a very difficult position to figure out how to split up such a little amount of money when there's so much need out there in our community. You know, our total funds are 2640. And, you know, again, everyone tonight, every organization that's represented here tonight is worthy and does fantastic work, you know, in our community and outside of our community. I think, you know, we have our own organization, our library to worry about. And in years past, as far as I can remember, they've come to us with a number, and it's always been a partial amount of what the total grant money is. And we've given them that money and we've divided the remainder across all the other organizations. This year's a little different. Our library's asking us for, the entire amount, which again, is a pittance compared to, what the need is at our library and all the organizations. So, again, it's a very difficult decision, but my own personal belief is I want to support our library with the funds, considering they've never asked us, they've only asked us for what they needed in the past when they could have asked for more. What they're trying to support, I think, are both worthy efforts, worthy projects, but that's really just my opinion. I'd like to open it up to anyone else from council that has an opinion on that. Mayor Pro Tem.
I always have an opinion. The only group that was not here was MCrest, okay, which operates out of both Trinity and St. Lawrence. All five, so we had a total of 5 outside communities or outside groups that wanted funding, and then the library, so for a total of 6. I do believe that, my opinion is that we take care of the library in a bigger scale, but at the same time, I do believe each one of these groups need some funds, okay? Utica's a little tiny community. I know we got less money this year than we did last year because we awarded more money, and I don't have that total what we had last year. I went back, the best I can tell on my computer, back in 2020, we had $2,800, but I know last year we had more. So my opinion would be that the 5 groups would get anywhere from $200 to $240 each. If you did $240 each, that's $1,200 of the $2,640. That would give $1,440 to the library. If you were gonna buy a set of books, the box books, either $500 or $1,000, and that leaves them money for big print books. I don't wanna give it all to the Utica Library, even though they're very deserving of it, okay? But I think all these other groups, because we've all interacted with them before. These aren't people we don't know, would get something. If you did $200 apiece, that's $1,000, then the Utica Library would get $1,640. So that's kind of where I'm at, so.
That's exactly where I'm at too. Where you're at, Ken.
So then it's just a matter of if, again, down here, it's, what's the range of the
Right.
giveaway, what's the range the library gets, but they're all deserving groups. So,
What was the math you figured out on that again?
if you did $200 apiece, you're spending $1,000, the library would get $1,640. If they got $240 apiece, then you're taking $1,200 of it, then they would get $1,440. I mean,
Okay,
I'm
yeah, no,
just-
I like that first option of
the 200 apiece.
do the 200 apiece and then the 16 to the library.
Yep, I would go for that.
And I just want, and I think this is probably a very, good solution to the, the dilemma that's posed in front of us, is trying to figure out, how to split up this tiny bit amount of money. But the other consideration I would just like to say for the library is they don't have any other sources to go to. They're only coming to Utica, right? So, that's another part of the formula in my head, is they don't have anywhere else to go. But I certainly understand what you're saying, and I could support that as well. Under your approach, so who would we would be supporting everyone that presented tonight?
We had 4 present, 1 not present, but MCrest we know is very active in this community, always are. So that would be 5 groups: Samaritan House, Care House, Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, MCrest, and Turning Point. Those 5, if you each gave them $200, that's $1,000, and then the balance of $1,640 would go to the Utica Library.
I'm on board.
Me too.
Making a motion?
I'll make a motion to award $200 each of the CDBG funds, $200 each to Samaritan House Food Pantry, Care House, Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, M-Crest, and Turning Point, and that the Utica Public Library would receive $1,640.
Yeah,
Support.
Support, yeah.
Motion by Sikora, support by
It doesn't matter.
Townsend. Any further discussion
I'll
from
take the hit
council?
on that.
Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, folks, for coming out. Again, it's a difficult place to be, trying to do this, but we appreciate everything you do in our community. We look forward to seeing you next year. Hopefully there'll be some more funds available. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb, for showing up and presenting for us.
It's always good to see you all. I was surprised to see that. All right, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you, folks.
Who seconded that? Did we have an official?
Pardon me?
Who was the official second?
Townsend.
Okay.
Sherry gets to be the hero.
It was close.
Or the villain, one or the other.
You'll get the next one, I promise.
Oh, okay.
The next item on the agenda is an appointment to the Planning Commission. I don't think Mr. Zelinski is here tonight. His information is in your packet on the AIS form. I actually met him at the Van Dyke Traffic Town Hall meeting we had. He stopped and chatted with me afterwards, expressed a lot of interest in getting involved in the city, helping in any way he could. I talked to the Planning Commission Chairman, Mr. Dominic Paone. It seemed like a really good fit. Dominic had a nice conversation with Mr. Zelinski, and there's interest. And that's who I am asking to appoint tonight. I would be looking for a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by
Mike.
Brian. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. And I'm just going to read his certificate of appointment quickly. Mr. Ben Zelinski, you are hereby notified that you have been duly appointed by the City Council for the City of Utica at a regular council meeting held Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, to serve as a member of the Planning Commission for the City of Utica. Term expires year 2026. That seems so far away, doesn't it? Thank you, everybody. Next item on the agenda is the item I added, and this is a street pavement project that we would like approval from council. In talking with Mr. Lang and HRC, Sal from HRC, we identified 3 streets in Utica that are in dire need of repair and probably, definitely won't make it until we actually go out and bond for major road repairs again. These streets are Messmore, from Reamer all the way down to Kensington, Custer, which is actually probably in the worst condition, from Messmore to Russell, and Greeley from Davis to the river. Did I get that right, Bill? Right. Okay. These funds are available in the local street fund. We currently, as we heard in our audit, we have $843,000 in that fund right now. What we're looking to do is, maybe you should even say that, eh? Jump in if I'm getting anything wrong, Bill. But what we're looking to do is to get it on mitten for bids, but we need some kind of pre-engineering help to get some drawings in place, get some specifications in place so that we could post it on mitten. HRC has agreed to help us, so of course there's a charge for that. So tonight I would be looking for two motions. Motion to be able to get this project on Mitten, and motion number two would be authorize an expense for HRC limited engineering not to exceed $5,000. Is there anything you'd like to add, Bill, to that I may have missed? Oh, can I add one more thing? I'm sorry. The reason that this is urgent is because it's a long process, right? Putting it on Mitten, waiting for the amount of time, then we get the bids, and then scheduling it with the contractor. In my discussions with, Bill and HRC, we're concerned that by the time if we wait too long, the contractors are all gonna be booked for the spring and summer. So, we're trying to get ahead of that as quickly as possible. And I'm sorry, Bill, you add anything you'd like.
I'll just recap the whole thing. Basically, we're looking for permission to put together a bid packet, advertise on Mitten, utilize local street funds that we would, with the intent that we would utilize local street funds to pay for the project. And then at some point, come to city council with a request to award a bid to proceed with the project. The mayor outlined what streets we're looking at, from a standpoint of repair, because I'll stress it's basically a repair, not a reconstruct. We're looking to mill approximately 2 inches of the existing surface off those roads and cap it with a 2-inch overlay. It should last us we get about a 10-year lifespan out of that. Pretty cost effective, and the preliminary estimates that I got were pretty fair for the amount of distance that we're looking at. Safely under 200,000, and it's actually, that's a high estimate. I shared a number with the mayor, but in fairness to the bidders and that, I don't like to I just sought out a preliminary estimate to see if it was even a noteworthy project to look at. And it is based on what we got back, so we would like to aggressively pursue it. We're not really ahead of anything, we're just wanting to get permission.
Can I ask a question about Custer? Just a quick question. Did that get like that because of something that happened underneath the road at one time? Was there ever a problem with the sewer? Because it seems like it's just one, like just north of Russell, it seems like it's one little chunk there, although the rest of the road is but it's like really bad in that chunk, and I was wondering if it had to do with something underneath, and did we have to address what was underneath before we fixed the top?
So we'll start with, I don't believe we have to address anything underneath.
Okay.
There may have been a water main break or a sewer repair there at some point.
I
If you
think there
live
was.
there may have
That's what
been.
I'm thinking.
That's not the fault of the condition of the road. I'm not an engineer.
Yeah.
I'll give you my swag analysis as to and I won't tell you what that acronym means, but, scientific wild analyzing guess. That's the one.
Exactly.
What I see happen there was a premature degradation of the asphalt itself. That whatever it was when that, because it's restricted to one area.
Right.
So
right.
that tells me that came out of the batch plant in a way where something else got into it, or something was left out, or it was, it was too cold when it was put down, it was too hot when it was put down. Something like that happened that caused just that area to prematurely fail, is what I believe has happened there.
Okay, I just wanted to
So-
make sure there wasn't something underneath that happened that, could.
Yeah, that's not what we're looking at,
Okay.
again, the goal is to mill about 2 inches off, cap it, and, we're identifying through our Pazer system. One is obvious, Custer, just visually, it looks, it's about the worst. Greeley Street has been on my radar for a while, and then Messmore, they all scored, we had them scored through a Pazer rating, which was, there's a methodology as to how those are scored, and so that's kind of what we're looking at to move forward on, and we would like to get in on the early stages. Asphalt's a commodity, and the numbers are changing daily, so if we get in early, then the contractor can lock down his pricing for us.
And your comment of getting contractors, last year contracted did Garfield, also did Adams, and did Shaner, and got sued on all of them because he was behind all, because he overcommitted. So the idea is getting somebody at the very beginning, and this is a small project, they can get it in.
I had actually suggested a different approach, and that was just do an RFP and solicit 3 or 4 of the local contractors that we've used in the past, rather than going to Mitten. And part of the reason why is we're not doing a full-scale, the intent is not to do a full-scale engineered project. We're gonna put together an RFP, we're gonna build it similar to how we did the bike path or the walking path in Grant Park. It's a pretty straightforward, you come in with a mill, you take off the millings, you match existing, and, you know, basically, what you take out, you put back. And it's pretty straightforward, pretty consistent. We might run into a little more cost or get somebody from the outside that I'm not familiar with their workmanship. The others that we would use, that I would identify would be the ones, you know, that we've got a relationship with. But we'll see how it goes. We'll be all right. Sounds like the mayor and maybe Phil wanted to head towards, you know, Mitten and do a full-blown advertisement, which is, that's okay. We're good that way, either way.
The dollar amount, yes. It's up there.
I understand, at the same time, knowing who you're dealing with means a whole world of difference. I mean, I wouldn't take, if you get one person that comes in and gives you a price, there's no comparison. But if there's, same thing to a bid process, we develop the spec, put it out there, and people come back, then they're all bidding on the same exact thing. So,
It's a little bit of I don't wanna say a gamble. It is more, I would feel more comfortable with working with one of the 3 that I know of we dealt with in the last 5 years. It's easier for me to put my name behind that. Going to the outside, well, then we put a little bit to, you know, we look at them like we do on every other project. I mean, we used Anglin Civil, of course, we used them on the river, but their road project up here was suitable. They did fine. And we kind of went on the recommendation of the engineers and past practice, the experience, so, you know, and maybe Mitten's the way to go. I know I can get one bid, because I kind of already have one, but another one that I'm thinking of, they very well are booked out for the entire year, so we might not even get that. So we can try Mitten and see how it goes. If you like, I'll go either
personally, I'm
way.
torn between the 2 policies.
I'll go either way. Personally, I'd rather do an RFP and just solicit whoever you tell me. I'll give you the 3 that I know we did work with, and if there's more, bring them. We can give them all out. It's not that, I'd hate to see, I actually think by going to Mitten, the project will cost more. Because you start looking at things like they want mobilization expenses, and just depend on how the engineers might actually write the RFP. There's a lot more checks and balances when we're dealing with an unknown entity that possibly comes in for their fit and finish and their workmanship. So the RFP's faster as well, but again, that's up to council. I think, unless Phil
there's
knows
some, you
some
know,
reason that we can't.
I would support that, you know, what Mr. Lang's saying too. I just don't know if there's any legal ramifications of, you know, are we required to go on Mitten for a job of this size?
The only reason I know of that we might is if for some reason, because it's state monies, Act 51 funds that are allocated to us, that it requires it, but I don't think it does. I think if we satisfy the bid process through an RFP, we're okay, but again, I'm not sure.
I think I'm familiar with needing the bidding process for federal projects. I need to look at.
Yeah, that's different, yep. So, how about, I don't know, and forgive me, But can we get approval that to utilize the RFP process, provided that we find out that that's an acceptable method?
Subject to.
Otherwise, we will advertise on it.
That's where I was gonna go. So.
Got a motion?
So the first one is I have to make a motion to put the bid, to have this spec'd, and then the next one is to put it out for bid?
Well, if we don't go on mitten, do we need HRC's services at all?
A tiny bit.
A tiny bit?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But it should be less than what HRC has indicated to be
Yeah,
safe.
basically, it's gonna be, so, and I don't mean to interrupt, basically, it's going to be, my suggestions, they either agree or disagree and use 1100 T instead of this
Right.
number, based on that. However, I would like to get, I would like to engage HRC at the construction end of things, more so just for,
Testing.
get their eyes on it and some testing, but it'd be very limited. It's gonna be a very cost-effective project. We'll get a lot of, to use the term, and I don't like it, bang for our buck. We actually will. It's the same thing as doing the project in the park.
Right.
And I think the park turned out
Really
great. Actually, that would be one of our bidders that I would seek a number from.
So motion number one I would be looking for is authorizing to engage HRC at a cost not to exceed $5,000.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Sikora, support by O'Donnell. Any discussion from council?
No.
Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Motion number two would be to authorize Mr. Lang to start the RFP process, once we get information we need from HRC, to do the repaving project that we discussed on the streets
As discussed.
as discussed.
And to put that out for bid.
And/or if we find out, and/or.
Yeah, subject to-
And/or, yes.
Subject to the advice of council.
Well, and advertise for bid as required. However, is good.
Support.
Okay.
Make the motion, no, I'm not supporting, I'm making a motion.
Motion by Sikora,
Support.
support by Townsend. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, no timeline as to exactly when that would be, like, we'll get the RFP or written advertisement.
As soon as you
out.
can do it.
But as far as like award, then we would come back for award at a council meeting, and then we're kind of at the mercy of whenever the contractor can fit it in.
Correct.
So just as long as as far as promising dates you have, well.
As soon as
sometime
possible.
soon. Right, thank you.
I know we probably all got lost. We're still in department reports, so let me finish mine. I'd like to thank the DPW for all the hard work on the big snowstorm we had last week. You guys did a fantastic job. I was
Yeah.
monitoring social media. The Sterling Heights and Shelby residents were very envious of the service that Utica residents were getting, so thank you very much. We did declare a snow emergency for, what was it, about 24 hours, Bill, something like that. Just enough time to let the guys have the streets open to get the plows going. So fantastic job. Part two of the snow discussion, Mr. Hicks, the building inspector, today asked me to let all residents know that he is issuing warnings and possibly tickets if the snow isn't shoveled at residents' houses, sidewalks, and businesses as well. So the ordinance does allow 24 hours to shovel snow for businesses and residents. And Mr. Hicks actually was making rounds today. So if you haven't shoveled your snow yet, it's been a lot more than 24 hours, so it's time to get out there and either pick up the shovel or hire some of our neighborhood kids to do it for you. And one last thing, Mr. Paternoster, if you could point the camera to the center and come out here for a second. Our treasurer doubles as our audiovisual
I was gonna say our AV person.
technician. I don't know how many of you know, but Mr. Paternoster just celebrated his 30th anniversary with the city of Utica. He did it very quietly, without, any drum rolls or anything. So tonight, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank Mr. Paternoster for all the hard work, 30 years of great service to the city. I'll tell you, I don't know what, I would be completely lost without him. On a daily basis, I'm asking him something about, and it's not just treasury and finance stuff, it's policy, procedure. Phil, keep me from making mistakes and getting in trouble, and his advice is always good and always valuable. So on the behalf of the city, is the camera pointing here or there, Phil?
It's got the
right.
table here.
I'd like to present you with this small token of our appreciation for all your hard work. Let's see if I can do this. Again, it's just a token, because you have done so much more than what this is worth. But an award for you, sir. And we even got your name spelled, one L, one L. It took me a while to learn that, but, so, thank you, Phil.
Thank you. I'll just say that I was a young kid out of college when I came here. Did not expect to be here for 30 years. But it's been a pleasure working for the mayors. This is my third mayor now only in 30 years. And for the council, working with the department heads. And it's been a joy working with the community, getting to know some of the residents over the years. And this is not my retirement. I still have a few more years, and a
few more mayors, maybe?
I assure you, I intend to give you the best effort that I can for the remainder of my time here. So thank you very much. I am very honored.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
That's all for my reports. Does anyone from council have any reports tonight?
Could I say something? super
Absolutely,
quick?
Mr. O'Donnell.
I just want to say, and I promise this will be the last meeting I mention it, as many of you know, my dad passed away about a month ago. I just wanted to thank everybody. There was a huge sort of outpouring of support, just texts. So some people sent letters in the mail. I'll never be able to write thank yous for everyone. But it meant a lot to me. And I just want to say, if you, excuse me, if you have a family member who is considering getting sick and passing away, I would tell them no. So
good advice.
It's my recommendation
Very good
to you all.
advice.
But nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, fire. Chief Wilczek.
Yeah, Mayor and City Council, before you, I have I got to commit to a contract which is put out by Oakland County bid process, so we've already bid it out already. And I'm just coming for approval because this is done throughout the it'll be partially this year and partially next fiscal year. Just for approval so I can pay the bills without coming to council. That's for our ladders, our pump testing, our aerial ladder, and our hose, which is an NFPA standard that we have to meet. So I would like to get a motion to be able to pay these bills when they do occur.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion by Ryan, support by O'Donnell. Any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Next item, Chief.
I have a second motion to make, or to be made. We had an emergency repair we had a catastrophic failure of our aerial truck. We lost the PTO clutch. We had a drive shaft failure first, and then the clutch I guess died because of that failure. And It was a major repair. They have to take all the plumbing off and drop the transmission and the PTO. And I'm looking for funding to pay for that bill at a total of $9,000. And it would require a motion and a budget amendment.
Yeah, and the information is on your AIS form. So the motion that Chief's requesting is to amend the fiscal year 2022 budget for Fire Department Vehicle Maintenance, Fund 101-336-868-000 by $9,000. Source of funds is the unassigned fund balance.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ryan, support by O'Donnell. Any discussion from council?
Just a couple quick questions regarding that. So you're, the motion to amend it by 9,000, that means our repair fund is completely exhausted at this point, correct?
It would be if we were to pay the bill. We still have funding left.
Okay, we still have some funding left.
Yep.
I just want to make a comment regarding as we go into budget, something we need to keep in mind as far as when we start cutting repair bills or cutting repair funding, is we have a lot of older equipment at the fire hall, and that's going to require a lot more funding when it comes to repairs wise.
For sure. Any other discussion from council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Transi O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Anything else, Chief Wilson?
Yeah, and if, due to we're supposed to get some more snow again, I guess, this weekend and that. If you have a hydrant in front of your house, please don't cover it up. In our local businesses, we will be going out and we have problems with snow plows trying to cover up our fire hydrants. So if you see one covered, make a phone call to us. We'll take care of it. And if you're a homeowner, please just keep them clear.
Good advice.
Mayor, I'm sorry, we need to approve payment of the bill. There should have been too much.
Oh,
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve repairs to Fire Truck 1 aerial in the amount of $9,875.08. Support.
motion by O'Donnell, support by Ryan. Any discussion from council? Another vote, Madam Clerk.
Sikora?
Yes.
Transi O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Would that be it? Chief Cody.
I'm going to turn this one over to my deputy chief. This is a traffic control device that he's been working on. So,
Go up here, it's easier. Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet is a agenda item summary. As you're aware, there's been numerous complaints with the traffic regarding the Hall, or Van Dyke, just south of Hall Road, around the Puff business over there, and also we have the mobile business. What's going on in that area is as people are coming northbound on Van Dyke, they're actually stopping in the through lane to take a left-hand turn into the business there. In working with the police department, and we've been working with the mayor's office, trying to come up with some type of idea, solution to try and address this traffic control problem. I'm not sure if you guys had seen the Macomb Daily today. The mayor had sent an article out regarding traffic crashes in Macomb County. The city of Utica, unfortunately, is #1 in traffic crashes in the county here, at a number of 26.75 crashes per mile on our streets and stuff. So the next comparison city is Chesterfield at 15 crashes per mile and stuff. So in our small condensed area, we have an extreme large amount of accidents. And as anybody that's driven on that Van Dyke roadway knows, it is right with accidents left and right. And now with the increased traffic at Puff, we're trying to look at ways to prevent some serious accidents from occurring in there. So what we are proposing is to install what's called a delineator, and they're about 3 feet tall. They're yellow in color, and it's approximately about 140-foot area that we're going to install these in. And so it runs the distance. I believe the map is in your packet there. So it's going to run the distance from just south of Puff all the way up to just south of Hall Road there. And what we're looking at is trying to eliminate anybody from turning into Puff and or also coming southbound and turning into that mobile gas station there. The projected amount for this project is gonna be $2,600. And from a interesting standpoint of, we're not looking to amend the police budget, but we're actually looking to amend the DPW budget here. So but we'd be looking at a motion to approve the purchase of these, and you get a better deal to buy them in a lot of 50, and we're projecting between probably about 30 to 40 to be installed in that area and stuff, just once we get out there and actually do a full install on them. So we'd be looking to amend the major streets budget by $2,600, and then the expenditure for the traffic services and stuff will come out of there. Is there any questions on the project or kind of what we're looking to do?
Is it gonna be on the, so there's a left-hand turn lane that goes into Canal. Is it gonna be like alongside that?
It's going to run that lane, but it's not going to, just kind of where it starts bridging to go into the turn lane, it's gonna stop.
Okay.
So just kind of right at that V area where it starts going into, so it's not gonna actually impede the turn lane. You'll be able to get into that turn.
It'll be on the
Right.
east side, so when the
Correct.
entrance part, it won't be affected. The side where you enter.
Oh,
into
right,
that
yeah,
turn.
it'll be on the east
It'll be on
side
the
of the
east.
turn, yeah, that's what I couldn't really tell by the picture.
Right.
It's gonna be on the east side or the west side?
You showed the west side on that from, rather than the east side.
Yes, he's the west side, Mayor. West
It's gonna
side
be
of
on
the,
the west side of the turn.
No, I don't think so.
I'm trying to,
Because the cut-in, what do you call that lane is, there's an opening. When you're entering that turn lane to make the left-hand turn on the canal at the light, they're gonna have to run on the west side, because they would be impacting the opening to get into the turn lane if they were on the east side.
You're gonna delineate the west stripe
west.
of the northbound lane.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you were coming south, it would be on the east side.
He's
On the
gonna say
outside.
we, and I get a feeling this group's gonna put them in for him. But I'm sure you'll give us good direction.
I'm getting you the money.
Mr. Lang, sure.
Yeah, I don't know what, the assistant chief has in print, but the way I'd like to see it done, and I think it'll appease Phil, and it very well may be in print, we would like, to amend the, general operating budget, 101-441-933-000, which should be traffic services, to, have the major street fund transfer the 2,600, 202-482-933-000.
Wow.
Oh, of course, right, yeah.
That's okay, until he last,
That's on
that's in
over
there, so that's what we're looking to do. We want to take 2,600 from 202-482-933-000 and transfer it into 101-441-933-000 to cover the expenditure. And the reason why, the way we book expenditures in the street department, we spend the monies out of the street department and then reimburse through Act 51 into the general fund. So basically, that 101 fund is a general fund operation that's funded, and we reimburse through the major and local streets, if that makes sense. So the operating budget for the street department is actually a general fund operation. Those funds come from general fund, we reimburse through major and local streets. Yes?
Mr.
That is
Paterno?
correct. So there was a small typo on this agenda item summary under revenue source name. It says major streets, it should have said streets,
Okay.
not major streets. The general ledger account number to the right of that is the correct revenue account, which is a reimbursement from the major street fund
Okay.
into the general fund. So the budget amendment is affecting both funds, the general fund and the major street fund. The revenues in the general fund, traffic services in the general fund, and also traffic services in the major street fund, which when you record that, it reimburses the general fund.
Got it.
Okay? It's just the way Act 51 requires us to record our expenditures in the general fund first and then reimburse it.
I was just trying to show off because he's changing our GL numbers. In the amount of time that
You're gonna have to rememorize
I'm
them
not
all.
gonna be able to do that.
One-time show.
I'm not gonna be able to do, I actually know the numbers pretty well, but he's changing them.
Yes, sir.
How durable are these?
So at least from what they advertise, these posts are able to handle 75 strikes from a car at a speed of 55 miles an hour.
That's pretty good, actually.
Well, 'cause my
they're on-
question was,
they're
how
on a-
many
they're on a-
spares do we order?
They're on a flexible post or a flexible stand, so they're able to get run over. And we are ordering some extra ones in this because there's a cheaper deal as you buy them more in bulk and stuff to have some more on hand. If they
Which the
get taken out.
DPW is gonna store also.
We are gonna store.
So what is, speaking of the fact that we're in the winter time, how well will they survive a plow truck? Because that's one of those things that's bound to happen. It's not.
We'll go around. We'll go around. We just put snow up.
Just make a nice artificial median.
We have to navigate mailboxes, and I mean, realistically, you guys do pretty good. We'll just deal with it.
Mayor, can I make a suggestion or make a statement?
Absolutely.
It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be worse off than we are now. Because it's gonna back up Van Dyke going south, because they're trying to make that left-hand turn, and they're not gonna be able to get over right away.
No, that left turn lane will still be just the way it is.
It'll be just like it is now.
Yeah, we're actually gonna delineate the west stripe of the northbound lane.
So it's gonna be.
So it's gonna be, it's gonna be the lane, the left turn will still be wide open. You're thinking of the west-west stripe of the left turn.
Okay.
Right, no.
That's what I was clarifying, it's not the one you're
Yeah.
thinking. So it'll be the east stripe of the left turn lane.
Okay.
Right.
That's what I was right.
Where can you go and have so much?
Just leave it.
It's only painful for people going.
The only guy that needs to know where they're going is the street department.
I was pretty by the print, it just looked like.
Yeah. It's all,
Yeah, it was
we'll
hard
do
to
our
see it
best
in
with
that.
it, and, it seems like a reasonable option to try in that area, so.
Thank you.
So we are looking for a motion to amend the traffic services budget by $2,600.
So moved.
Motion by Sikora,
Support.
support by O'Donnell. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi, O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne, Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Second motion we're looking for is to approve the purchase of the listed items.
So moved.
Motion by Sikora,
Support.
support by O'Donnell. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi, O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne, Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Chief Cody, did you have anything else to share tonight?
Very impressed with Rain Man's,
People can't remember their phone number.
Yep. And thank you for your assistance. We look forward to us putting those.
I will.
The numbers are on the sheet. I'm like,
I'm gonna need, because it's a precarious area, I mean,
That's true
I'm
too, yeah.
expecting some assistance.
It'll be a
from some
coordinated
flex
effort there,
people.
for sure, yeah. There's nothing further, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. DPW.
Yeah, just a couple of additional things to throw out to you, Mayor and Council. This month's agenda is empty for us. Next month's will be a little, I've got a couple of things that will come to you, probably from the road department standpoint, at least the roads, I don't think we'll have anything in place just yet for that. But there will be two more items that I'm gonna be expecting to bring to council. One is we need to amend our stormwater ordinance to meet what Eagles, the EPA and Eagles' new standards are. We've got the city attorneys taking a look at them, and they'll be coming to you next month to approve. so that we can meet our new stormwater standard with post-construction and reconstruction ordinance. It's a pretty lengthy packet. You can read it if you like. I'm actually, as soon as Ms. McGrail's done taking a look at it, I want to forward it to you so you have time to look at it if you so choose.
Appreciate it.
There's a lot of Greek in there. Feel free to reach out to me and I'll explain it the best I can so that it can be pretty smooth when we get to that point. The other item that will come is we also are being required to now, through our cross-connection control program, which exists primarily in our commercial district or commercial aspects of the water system, we are moving to include residential cross-connection. There'll be a proposal that I will forward as well. I believe Ms. McGrail's been asked to look at that as well. When she's done taking a look at that, in case there's any changes, because I know today, we had changes to the document right at the 100th hour from Eagle. As soon as that's released, I'll try to get that out to you to look at as well. Just so in case you have any additional questions. And the idea there is to, we have to, by EPA and Eagle rule, engage our residential customers in a cross-connection control program. It's gonna be primarily consisting of the outdoor aspects of the dwellings, but there'll be a cost associated with that. With each residential customer. I don't know, can I share what we're expecting now, or should I just keep it to myself? It doesn't, we're looking at, the cost of the program is gonna be about $1 a month per residential home.
Because it's managed by a contractor.
Correct. We're gonna have, right now, HydroCorp is our firm that does the majority of our cross-connection control program. It's an outsourced independent contractor. We pay a higher amount from the commercial customers. They pay a higher amount. The residential side will be $1 per month, and it'll just be ongoing. It'll be $1. And then they'll keep us in compliance. And, there's some, hose bib vacuum breakers, anti-siphon valves that can be, if your house needs them, they'll put them on. But if you do have a residential vacuum breaker for your sprinkler system, you're gonna be required to have it tested by a licensed tester. And I believe it's a 5-year rolling cycle that will be required to be retested by a licensed tester. So for those residents that do have outdoor sprinkler systems, there'll be a cost that the resident will have to bear to utilize that vacuum breaker. But it will keep us in compliance with what the EPA and the Eagle is having us do. So you'll have that to, hopefully we can get that on board and get that approved as well, next month.
Yep. Lots of stuff. Anything else?
Spring's in about 5 weeks.
Says the groundhog, right?
Springs for the truck, or?
No.
Thank you,
I don't have
Mr.
a
Lane.
number associated with that. Thank you.
Nothing from treasurer, because he hasn't peeked out from the back room yet. Madam Clerk, anything from administration?
I would just like to remind council that we have an election this year for city seats. The mayor and 3 council seats are up for election, so, Mr. O'Donnell, Mr. Sephora, and Ms. Benson are all your seats are up.
Is that all?
That's all.
Thank you.
I quit.
Ms. McGrail, anything from our city attorney?
I have nothing for today's meeting.
At this point, we would open the floor for communication from the public for any item not on the agenda. Going once, going twice. Nothing? I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Sikora, support by O'Donnell. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Sikora?
Yes.
Torenzi? O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deanne? Ryan?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Mayor Calendino?
Yes, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Does anyone ever vote against adjournment?
At my American Legion,
I think
Next month.
I think
No
we'll
on
be
every
okay.
motion.